The Tour du Pont may not have found Tony Rominger at his best, but the 35-year-old Swiss rider's been at the top of the cycling tree for the last 5 seasons, collecting 3 Vuelta a España titles, a Giro d'Italia, plus the world hour record in a sparkling period of 90s achievement. Rominger was a late starter, not turning professional until his 25th year. He enjoyed limited success until joining the class team as leader in 1992. That year's Tour of Spain was the objective. Rominger timed his challenge to perfection, winning the final time trial and extending that lead with victory in the penultimate stage. The title was his. Rominger had won his first big tour at the grand old age of 31.
The Vuelta
was a really big breakthrough in cycling for me. It made me famous. It was really important to win a 3-week stage race, because everybody used to say, "Oh, Tony Rominger, he'll never win a major tour. He always breaks down after 2 weeks." So it was a massive confirmation of my own talents.
However, the rider's career could have taken a very different path after a bizarre incident almost robbed him of victory on stage 18.
I cycled too close to a balustrade, and a spectator who was watching the leaders and didn't see me coming held a bottle of beer out. My head collided with the bottle and I fell. The only thing I remember clearly is that when I stood up I stank of beer, but I got straight up and finished the race.
Rominger successfully defended his Vuelta crown in 1993 and was seen as the main threat to Miguel Indurain's hopes of a 3rd Tour victory. However, despite winning 3 stages and taking the polka dot King of the Mountains jersey, he couldn't shake off the challenge of Big Mig, eventually finishing a gallant 2nd. The Swiss rider completed his Spanish hat-trick in 1994, but a stomach complaint cruelly robbed him of any chance in the Tour, bowing out on stage 13 in obvious pain. That experience spurred Rominger onto greater things. In October, he broke Indurain's world 1-hour record before shattering his own time again in the same Bordeaux stadium just 2 weeks later. Rominger decided to race the Giro in 1995 after the Vuelta was switched from April to September. The decision proved correct. He destroyed the opposition, leading from the 2nd stage time trial to see off defending champion Evgeny Berzin. However, the Tour de France was to elude him again. Leaving his best form behind in Italy, Rominger finished a well-beaten 8th in Paris. A self-proclaimed family man and father of 2, Rominger's success has warranted a move to the millionaire's paradise of Monte Carlo. But his desire to win the Tour, the last major stage race to elude him, remains strong. And his preparations this season have been single-minded.
Really, my main race preparation this year is for the Tour. I found that the Giro was so tough on me last season that I couldn't cycle both races. This year I've based my training in the Pyrenees, so I can concentrate on the Tour and the second half of the season.
Despite being unable to challenge for victory in the Tour du Pont, at least the Mapei leader showed no ill effects from the rib injury he sustained in training earlier this season. Teammate and world champion Abraham Olano is one man who believes Rominger retains the ability and desire to win the Tour, despite his veteran status.
If Tony's in the same condition as in last year's Giro, then he'll have a great chance of winning. At the very least, he'll be up near the lead, and I'd like to be with him to help him fight for a Tour victory.
However, this could be his last spin of the wheel to finally win the one event that's always escaped him.
If I don't win the Tour de France this year, then I'll probably never win it. It's therefore definitely my last chance. But I'd also be happy with a place on the podium. Now, whether I carry on for another year doesn't depend on the Tour de France, but on whether I'm still enjoying my cycling. There aren't too many cyclists who are capable of winning a major 3-week stage race. My generation, riders like Indurain, Brunel and Chiappucci, are gradually reaching the end of their careers, which means the next generation will take over either this year or the next.
Whatever decision Rominger takes at the end of the season, he'll go down in history as one of the great riders of the decade. Whether this supremely talented cyclist collects road racing's ultimate prize remains to be seen.